From Slippery Rock University, this is Spotlight. I'm Ed Codi, and welcome our guest, the new athletic director at Slippery Rock University, Dr. Roberta Page. Dr. Page, thanks for taking time and joining us. You're no stranger to the Rock, having played basketball and softball here back in the late 80s. So how's it been going? You're 2 months on the job.
Well, thank you for having me, obviously. And it's been awesome coming back. I said when I interviewed here, I'll know when I step on campus whether it's the right place, the right time for me and my family, if I get those goosebumps or I get that lump in my stomach. And as soon as I walk back on campus, it was like coming home. So it's been awesome.
You had a very interesting job before that. You were 12 years the NCAA director of Division II National Championships in Indianapolis, and I'm thinking, why'd you leave that job?
I know, everybody asked me that same question, and I'll be honest with you, I had a great job. I got to run national championships for a living, and you got to see all the facilities across the country, meet the best of the best, the kids, the student athletes, the coaches. And I had always said there'd only ever probably be one other job on campus I would ever be, or I'd ever want to go after or hope I was being considered for, and that was my alma mater. And God willing, Paul decided it was time to hang it up and retire. And he and I are close friends, and we talked a little bit, and it was like, I think it's the right time. And I would have been happy staying in Indiana throughout the rest of my career, but coming here and hoping I can make some change is the right time.
Well, you're new to Slippery Rock University, but you're not new to being an athletic director, having served in that capacity at Shippensburg from 2003 to 2009. What's changed during that time between then and now your new position here at the Rock?
Well, I think I've changed. I think initially I said I probably should have done my career the other way. I feel like I learned so much when I was at the NCAA that I didn't know when I was at Ship. I loved my time at Shippensburg. I had a fantastic administration, loved my coaches, but when the opportunity came to go to the NCAA, that kind of was like a no-brainer for me as well. What has changed is, I think there's a lot that's changed. I know with just what's going on, obviously with the NIL, what student athletes are going through. I mean, look what COVID did for us. Requirements from our student athletes, this growing up being a student athlete right now is very different. So we're at a different time. Sometimes that makes me a little bit nervous, but it also makes me excited to think that even though all this has changed, I still think we're going to provide a great opportunity for our student athletes.
And this just isn't a 9-to-5 job where you go home and put on some popcorn and pop roast and pop your feet up and watch TV all night. You got like a 24/7 job.
It is, and that makes me nervous too, because I want everything to go so smoothly. But I understand there's going to be hiccups along the way. And I just, I'll tell every one of our student athletes, we met with every one of our fall athletes, I'm here to make their life the best they can be as a student athlete. But they got to be a student first, take care of some things. And if they need help, my door, just like my administration with Andrea and Tori, our door is always open to help them. And I hope they not advantage of that, but take advantage of that opportunity. So it's not a 9-to-5 job. Anybody that's in athletics knows it's not a 9-to-5 job, but I'm ready for it. I think I'm ready for it.
Now, you mentioned COVID, and what is the protocol here with the university students, of course, and then with the athletic teams? I see the Big Ten just said if a team can't play because of COVID, it is a forfeit. If both teams can't play, then it's a no contest. So what's in place here at the Rock and through the PSAC?
Yeah, so obviously we'll follow the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference and their rules, and we're not doing the forfeit at this point. I hope we don't have to get to that, but I don't know. I don't know. It's so early on right now that we could change some dates if we need to, and that'll just depend how late in the season that we're getting. And we'll continue to follow the guidelines set forth from the NCAA with our testing. I know that doesn't make our student athletes very happy, but I'm going to knock on wood right now. We're doing good. I mean, we're in a good place. I think our leadership here within our athletic trainers are keeping the kids in line, making sure that they have their testing before they can go into any activities. And ultimately, it's like I told all the student athletes, hey, we're doing this to keep you safe. I don't want our season to be cut short because we unfortunately had somebody that got COVID, and with the contact tracing, we have everybody out. Hang in there. Do what we need you to do so that we can have a postseason.
Dr. Page, when you first took over, what were your first priorities? What are the things you wanted to make clear throughout the athletic department?
You know, I told them I had the 4 C's. Number 1, I wanted them to take care of themselves in the classroom. Okay, definitely we need them to graduate. They are student and then athletes. I want them to get involved in our community, whether that's our Slippery Rock campus community or the external community, because we can't support everybody else on campus unless we support them as well. And I want them to make a commitment. I want them to make a commitment to us being a part of our athletic department and representing us to the highest standard, and then competition. I believe in Slippery Rock, and I believe that we should be competing every year for the Pennsylvania State Athletic title. I want us to compete regionally, and then I also want us to get on the national stage as well. And in addition to that, probably the thing that I'm going to focus on are our facilities. As we were talking earlier, I think we have good facilities.
It's beautiful.
You can see behind me. But we've got other things I think that we can continue to do better on. You know, I tell our staff all the time, we get one chance to make a first impression in life. And I want every student athlete, every person that comes on here for camp, any external group, when they come on this campus and they go into our athletic venues, it's like, wow. So that's my focus. I really want to start taking care of some things with our facilities, always pushing the needle forward to get better.
I hear some talk recently about a state-of-the-art press box. Is that in a discussion?
There's nothing I would love more than to have it here at the football stadium. We've got over at the softball field, we could get a better press box, I think. We've got some other areas that need some nice press boxes or just maybe some upgrades, but there's nothing better than right here that I'd like to see some suites, a nice area for our sports information, so that when it comes time and we have an opportunity to host some postseason games, that our stadium is up to par and we can have a opportunity to host for our student athletes.
Let's have a conversation about what's going on. More and more women are becoming athletic directors. You're an example here, the first female athletic director at the Rock. There are 4 in Division I, not to ignore the other divisions, but Heather Like at Pitt, Sandy Barber at Penn State, and then Carla Williams at Virginia, and I think it's Jennifer Cohen at Washington. You said at least you know Barber and some of the others. It's been a slow process where half of the athletes, nearly half of them are females, but only about 20-some% are in leadership roles, and the lowest percentage is at Division I. It's a little more at Division III with 32%. So where do you see it going here in terms of gender equity? Is it getting better, or is it too slow a process?
Well, I think it's always getting better, and I don't think there's anybody out there that doesn't think a woman can do this job. It's really about getting the buy-in from the community, meaning your campus community and your coaches. Do you ever think it's too slow? I think we're doing okay. I think you just announced some pretty high-profile women leaders in athletics who it's quite flattering just to be mentioned in the same category as them. But we're getting better, and you're starting to see some fantastic leaders coming through the athletic business, not only college, but even professional, that are females. And I would love to continue to reach out to them and learn from them, because I want us to get better from that.
Is there a difference here, talk in managerial styles between a man running an athletic program or a woman? If there is such a difference, does women approach the job differently? You've heard in the past in positions women can't be as assertive as men. I could tell, I've talked to you before. My first 8 years of school were nothing but nuns at a Catholic school, and they ran, and they weren't afraid to be assertive. So, touch on that and give me your thoughts. I
don't know if I have a feeling about that. I don't look at people whether or not you're a male or a female, and I'll tell you, our coaches have been great with me, men and the women, and I don't think that they have thought, oh my, here comes Roberta, she's a woman, she'll be so soft, or she's gonna be really hard on us as a female. I just think it's just more about the individual and being a good leader. I don't think it has anything to do, with the gender. Maybe we see things differently, but you and I see things differently, and you two may see things differently. I don't know necessarily if it's because I'm a female. I think everybody should be in the business for the right reason. That's just always to have the best experience for our student athletes.
So what do you tell your coach? What do you expect of your coaches? The things that you say, these are the things you must do to coach here at the Rock.
I want us to be ethical. I want us to do things the right way. I want us to win the right way, and I want us to, if we're losing, I want us to lose the right way. Because people are watching. You know, athletics lives in a fishbowl. I mean, everybody is looking at athletics. You've heard the old statement, you know, athletics is the front porch of the university. And I want people to look at us as an athletic department and be like, wow, look at those kids come in. They're very respectful. They're very polite. We do things the right way. We're not bending the rules or twisting the rules. I just want us to win the right way.
And so for you, we said it's not a 9-to-5 job. Try to take us through a day exactly what your chores are and what you have to do, so people understand exactly. They think an athletic director is a glorified position. They're just at the games, having a good time and at cocktail parties, but it's a lot more than that. So what's a typical day like for
you know, and today's an interesting day to kind of talk about that, because I've tried to meet so many people, whether it's on campus or whether it's the Slippery Rock community. So on a day-to-day basis, I'm out, whether it's meeting with the business owners, our folks that are supporting us. You know, of course, we have daily meetings with our senior management staff to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Kind of going to the games and things like that's kind of like the extra things that we do. You know, it's just, you know, I meet with my president, I meet with our vice president, we meet with all of the teams, our senior staff, our equipment managers, our corporate sponsors, our alumni, our foundation. So it's a lot of meetings from 9 till about 3 till games can kind of kick off. And that's making sure that when people come onto this campus, they're welcomed, making sure we have everything lined up so that on game day, it's rolling without a hitch. So
you're an administrator, you're doing PR work, you're doing marketing work, you have a number of jobs rolled into one.
It is. But that's, you know, you wear different hats. And, you know, the good thing is I like wearing the different hats. I just have to make sure, and I'm very blessed to have a great staff that I can trust, that when I'm not in the office, that things are taken care of, and they're fine with that as well.
So let me ask you, in the course of doing this, they talk about the expense of college athletics and how some teams took a beating last year because of COVID. You didn't have any athletics here at the Rock that year, as did a lot of other schools, and some schools have cut programs even at the Division I level.
Yeah.
Well, give us an idea of what kind of an expense you have here at the Rock that maybe people really don't understand or appreciate.
Well, I think right off the bat, the thing that I noticed was, you know, last year we couldn't have a lot of our camps, our clinics, our external groups, our fan base at all of our games, and we rely on that for our athletic revenue. And when you lose that for one entire year, that hits pretty hard. So I've got a lot of catching up to do. So it's going back and, you know, re-engaging with those sponsors to say, listen, I know we didn't have it last year, but we're ready to go this year, and will you continue to give back and support us like you have in the past? I want our teams to do very well to get the fan base in here, so that when those kids run out on a Saturday, they're running out to a stadium full of people that are here to support them. And when we have soccer games or we have volleyball games or anything, it's bringing those people back on campus that we lost last year. So losing one whole year of revenue really hurts an athletic department.
So you didn't lose any teams?
No, sir.
And how many men and women's athletic teams do you have here? I know it's grown tremendously since I was here.
Yeah, we have not lost anything. And so we are right where we need to be. And you know, there's some talk even now, to be honest with you, people want us to start looking at adding some different sports that we have. But I don't know that we're in the position to do that today. Obviously, we need to do some feasibility studies and see what that looks like for us. But our university has supported us, and we have not lost anything. Our coaches continue to fundraise on their own to take care of maybe what we did lose in the past. And a shout out to our alumni and our donors that didn't give up on us. They're so excited for the fall season, and then we'll go right into winter and spring, that they want to be a part of, and they haven't left us. I would say for the most part, with just a select few, just about everybody's come back. I think everybody's ready for college athletics to come back. I'm ready for college athletics to come back. I was so excited yesterday just to see kids on campus, and I'll be so excited when we have our first home games here on campus to see the kids coming out and supporting our student athletes. So I feel good where we're at, to be honest with you. And if there's anything that we can do, growth in the future, we'll be on it.
If a student comes to you, male or female, and they say, Dr. Page, I'm interested in going into athletic administration, what would be your advice to them?
I got goosebumps when you said that. And I would be best profession ever. There's so many different avenues within sports administration right now. Back probably when we went to school, sports management was a minor. You almost had to have just a business degree to go in. But there's so many different facets now, whether it's you could go into sports administration, go into ticketing, go into marketing, you could go into fundraising, you could go into compliance. There's so many different avenues and so many different tenets to the profession. I'm so excited if kids want to go into it. I look forward to those kids coming into our office that have that interest, that want to be student workers, because I'd like to give them an experience and show them the different tentacles that are available for them, because I want people to go into the profession. You
touched on names, image, and likeness. I don't know how much it applies below D1, but what are your thoughts on it and the rule changes that makes it a viable thing for college athletes these days?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And I think the name, image, and likeness is one that I'm going to have to catch myself back up on, because I was kind of on the other side for so long. Didn't have to really worry about that from where I was sitting within my previous position. We'll follow the rules from the Pennsylvania State Athletic Conference in the state to get some guidance. I think we'll potentially have some student athletes that it will affect. And I just want to provide via our staff the right direction to keep them what they need to be doing in case somebody reaches out to them. It'll happen. It may not be here. It may be at some other schools across the country, but some of our Division II athletes will be approached to use their name, image, and likeness, and we just want to make sure that we're leading them and guiding them in the right direction.
Roland Rivers would be an example. He graduated 1 year too early with the prolific year he had last year. Another subject that's of interest to me, we see more and more at the NBA, in the NFL, Major League Baseball, more and more women becoming coaches, advisors, and executives. Do you see the day? I think Tampa Bay had a couple women coaches. Same thing in the NBA with San Antonio.
Yep.
Do you see the day when, maybe I'll use as an example, it could be here, that the coach for the University of Michigan men's basketball team is a woman, because most of the coaches for the women's teams are men?
Yeah, and I'll tell you, any athletic director you talk to, when you say about hiring, hire the best individual. Don't worry if that's a male or a female. We've done that for years. We have females right now that are coaching on track, coaching the track team, so they do get the experience. Yes, it'll happen. I would not hesitate in a heartbeat that if I had a qualified female come in and she wanted to coach baseball or it was men's basketball, certainly I would definitely hire her in a heartbeat.
And for example, if the men's basketball job opened up here, and Vivian Stringer, former coach at Rutgers, she's a Hall of Fame coach, she says, I'm interested in the job.
Yeah, tell her to call me. Right? I got goosebumps on that one again. Yeah. Funny thing is, I went to the Steelers game the other day. First thing I noticed when they came out on the field is we had a female official. And so I pick up on kind of stuff like that. I love seeing some of the officials get into the higher ranks of football, men's basketball, the NBA, and all that. It's happening, and it'll continue to happen.
Yeah, I don't think it's a question of if. It's just a matter of time when you're going to see, and they're going to be judged by the one thing that every coach is judged by.
Wins and losses, right? You're
that's
right.
all.
You're right.
Finally, I want to touch on your educational background. You went here You have a doctorate. Tell us a little bit about your educational program and where you got your doctorate and your studies.
I'm very proud that I'm a Slippery Rock grad. It's kind of funny, when I got here, a couple of the coaches I would see at conventions, and anytime anybody had a Slippery Rock shirt on, I would sprint to go introduce myself, because I'm very proud of my undergraduate degree from here. I did my master's work at Western Maryland. It's now called McDaniel College. And then I stayed right here within the state and went to Duquesne, which I'm proud of my doctorate degree from there. I'm very blessed. I'm very blessed with my upbringing, with my education, with where I've had to work, the support of my family, things like that. And I feel like I'm at the right place right now. I was just up in a meeting with my president, and I said to the administrative assistants up there, I said, every day I wake up in a good mood. That doesn't mean it's not hard. It doesn't mean it's not going to be struggles at times. But the day I don't wake up and want to go to work, I'll think differently about what I'm doing. But I have never experienced that. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'd like to close one of my favorite questions. I always like to ask people, where's your motivation come from? Who are your heroes, and who's motivated you and inspired you along the way, your journey?
Yeah, wow, that's a great question. I haven't been asked that for a while. I always saw my father as a role model. Unfortunately, he has passed. But I can remember the day he and my mom dropped me off here in front of Rhodes Hall, and he said, okay, I'll see you in 4 years. And I said, what about the summer? And he's like, no, you're going to get a job, and you're going to work, and you're going to pay for your apartment and things like that. So not in a bad way, but he pushed me hard to be ethic. Very independent and to work. I was blessed. When I was at Shippensburg, I had a great president and a vice president who I still call friend and colleagues today, who hired me at a young age with a little experience, but trusted me. So I like the way that they molded me with just being about people and caring about people. So I need to give a shout out to those two. And I've just had great colleagues, I think, along the way. I had great coaches that when I went to Greensburg Salem, they both graduated from here, and kind of I always say just made me who I am today. So I just love people, and I try to take something from everybody that I meet every day. I try to be uplifting. I try to be positive, and I always will see the glass half full.
So what's the best thing about your job, being an athletic director?
People. Student athletes.
And I talk to people in your position. They say the one thing that they do not like to do is having to fire someone. That's the most difficult aspect of their job.
And that's not just athletics, but I always have to keep one group at the forefront of everything I do, and that's the student athletes. And if it ever comes to that situation and we're not doing what's in the best interest of them, then a change needs made.
Dr. Page, thanks so much for joining us. It's been great to understand your position here and your work here at the Rock, and I wish you a successful career and great athletic programs here at Slippery Rock University.
I thank you for having me.
You're
yes,
welcome.
Sir. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
So from Slippery Rock University, I'm Ed Codi, and this has been Spotlight.